Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Welcome back to Outlaws and Gunslingers, which hosts Bang and Dang back at it again. Got a new saying. It's Bang and Dang back at it again, right? Why, that's something you would say. Again.
it would be.
Moida. Against.
oil.
Yeah, for everything. We're coming back to you for another Moida case. This time, after wrapping up that brutal burned alive case last week with Shonda, we got
That's rough.
kind of even more brutal if you want to.
More satanic shit.
Oh, it's satanic, supposedly, coming here with the so-called West Memphis 3, who are Damian Eccles, Jesse Miss Kelly Jr., and Jason Baldwin, who are tried and then convicted of killing three. How old were they? 3 second graders by the name of Steve Branch, Christopher Byers, and Michael Moore, who are all had the wolf rank in Cub Scouts and were best friends also. Yeah. So, it's supposed to be a satanic ritual, and pretty messed up stuff happens.
Second grade, what, 7, 8?
Somewhere around there, right? Yeah. Convicted in 1994. They were all teenagers, too, the guys were, of the 1993 murders of those 3 small second graders, one of which was Steve Branch, who was the son of Stephen and Pamela Branch. It's kind of weird that the son's name is Steve, and they call the dad Steven.
Usually how it goes.
No, it's kind of the other way around. Steve is when you get bigger.
Right.
You get more mature.
Right.
But anyways, those two divorced when Steve was an infant. His mother was awarded custody and later married Terry Hobbs. He'll come into play in this. Branch was 8 years old, 4 foot 2 inches tall, weighed 65 pounds, and had blonde hair. It's a little Nazi baby.
Something about that name, Steve.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Steve.
He was last seen wearing blue jeans and a white T-shirt, typical, right? Riding a black and red bicycle. He was an honor student. He lived with his mama, Pamela Hobbs, his stepdad, Terry, and a 4-year-old half-sister, Amanda. Steve is buried in Mount Zion Cemetery in Steele, Missouri. I wonder why Steele, Missouri. These guys are in West Memphis, Tennessee. Weird.
Christopher Byers was born to Melissa Dudfer and Ricky Murray. Oh, wow.
Wow, 3 last names. Where did you get the Byers name from?
Out of wedlock, fucking marriage, huh? Oh, marriage. Out of wedlock marriage. Right.
I know, out of childbirth marriage.
Wow. Anyhow.
But seriously, why is there 3 last names?
So you got Melissa Defer and then Ricky Murray. So
The kid's name is Byers.
Byers.
What's up with that?
Right.
Well, I think we're going to see that in a second here. Just be
His parents
patient.
divorced when he was 4.
Okay, so a common theme between the 2 young boys already, huh?
Shortly afterward, his mother married John Mark Byers. Oh, which he assumed the name. Who adopted the boy.
Right.
Byers, I guess the dad didn't want nothing to do with him, huh?
I guess not.
Oh, Ricky Murray. Must be Ricky Bobby's dad, huh?
Right.
Byers was 8 years old, 4 foot tall, weighed 52 pounds. Had light brown hair. He was last seen wearing blue jeans, dark shoes, and a white long-sleeved shirt. He lived with his mother, Sharon Melissa Byers. His adoptive father, John Mark Byers. His stepbrother, Sean Ryan Clark, age 13. According to his mother, Christopher was a typical 8-year-old, obviously. He still believed in Easter Bunny and Santa Claus.
Oh, good for him.
Tooth Fairy, all that good stuff.
Good thing he died before he ever figured out that was a lie. No, I'm just kidding.
The whole world came crashing down.
Well, literally.
Christopher Mark Byers is buried in Forest Hill. Damn you, Scuba Steve. Christopher Mark Byers is buried in Forest Hill Cemetery, East, in Memphis, Tennessee.
In Memphis, Tennessee.
And it must be a big-ass cemetery. They got East and West.
Yeah. Well, it is Memphis. That leads us to the last victim, Michael Moore, son of...
They got to have more than just one cemetery in
Well,
Memphis.
clearly. Michael Moore was the son of Todd and Dana Moore. He was 8 years old, 4 foot 2 inches tall, weighed 55 pounds. had brown hair. He was last seen wearing blue pants, a blue Boy Scouts of America shirt, and an orange and blue Boy Scout hat, riding a light green bicycle.
He was a typical Boy Scout kid in the neighborhood all the time, always wearing his stuff. All right.
Moore enjoyed wearing a scout uniform, even though when he was not at meetings. He was considered the leader of the three.
Damn right he was. He knew how to do everything.
Right. He lived with his parents and his 9-year-old sister, Dawn. James Michael Moore, buried at Crittenden Memorial Cemetery in Marion, Arkansas. What's up with these two states?
All right.
There's 3 different states these kids are buried in.
Weird.
Huh.
5th of May, 1993. 3 8-year-old boys, Steve Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers, were reported missing in West Memphis, Arkansas. The first report to the police...
Oh, that's why. I thought it was West Memphis, Tennessee. My bad, guys. It's clearly West Memphis, Arkansas.
The first report to the police was made by Byers' adopted father, John Byers, around 7 p.m. The boys were allegedly last seen together by 3 neighbors, who in affidavits told of seeing them playing together around 6:30 p.m., the evening they disappeared, and seeing Terry Hobbs, Steve Branch's stepfather, calling them to come home. Time to come home, boys. Initial police searches made that night were limited. Friends and neighbors also conducted a search that night, which included a cursory visit to the location where the bodies were later found. Really?
Oh, wow. So they went there, so clearly the bodies weren't there when they went there first, huh?
Oh.
A more thorough police search for the children began around 8 a.m. on May 6th, led by the Crittenden County Search and Rescue personnel. Searchers canvassed all of West Memphis, but focused primarily on Robin Hood Hills, where the boys were reported last. Despite a shoulder-to-shoulder search of Robin Hills by a human chain, searchers found no sign of the missing boys. Around 1:45 p.m., juvenile parole officer Steve Jones spotted a boy's black shoe floating in a muddy creek that led to a major drainage canal in Robin Hood Hills. Subsequent search of the ditch revealed the bodies of these 3 boys.
That's some crazy shit. They've been stripped naked. Were hog-tied with their own shoelaces.
Jeez.
Their right ankles tied to their right wrists behind their backs, the same with the left. Their clothing was found in the creek, some of it twisted around sticks that had been thrust in the muddy ditch bed. The clothing was mostly turned inside out. 2 pairs of the boys' underwear were never recovered. Christopher Byers' lacerations to various body parts of his body, mutilations of scrotum, and oh my goodness.
Yep.
The autopsy by forensic pathologist Frank Peretti indicated that Byers died of multiple injuries, while Moore and Branch died of multiple injuries with drowning.
So they were still alive when they got thrown in, but apparently Byers wasn't, huh?
And which one was the
leader? Michael Moore?
He was the
Boy Scout one? Well, they're all 3 Boy Scouts, but Moore was the one that liked to wear his uniform. Police initially suspected the boys had been raped. However, later expert testimony disputed this finding. Trace amounts of sperm DNA were found on a pair of pants recovered from the scene, though. Prosecution experts claim Byers' wounds were the result of a knife attack and that he had been purposely castrated by the murderer.
Hey.
Defense experts claim the injuries were most likely the result of post-mortem animal predation. I think you could tell the difference between tearing at meat and then cutting. Police believe the boys were assaulted and killed at the location where they were found, and critics argued that the assault at least was unlikely to have occurred at the creek. Right. Crazy.
Oh my, that's just terrible. Man, that's my head running for money for the last episode.
But that last episode is still pretty messed up, dude.
Byers was the only victim with drugs in his system. He was prescribed Ritalin in January 1993. That's when everybody was like, "But you get on Ritalin! You get on Ritalin!" Pretty much everybody in the 90s around freaking Ritalin, dude. ADHD, that's when that first came out.
Anybody that couldn't pay attention, they're like, put them on Ritalin.
Right. Ridiculous. That's why you get all these idiots. Yeah, Ritalin, 1993, January, as part of treatment for an attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. This doesn't exist. The initial autopsy report describes the drug as carbamazepine, and the dosage at a subtherapeutic level. His father said Byers may not have taken this prescription on 5th of May, 1993.
So the drugs in his systems mean nothing.
Right. 1994, a memorial was erected for the 3 murder victims. The memorial was located in the playground of Weaver Elementary School in West Memphis, where all 3 victims were second graders at the time of the crime. May 2013, the 20th anniversary of the slayings, Weaver Elementary School principal Sheila Grissom raised funds to refurbish the memorial.
Well, good for you, Sheila. And that's the end of the episode. That's going to do it for us. No, usually we would wrap it up with something like that, but We're going to go on to the suspects because early on there was a few before we actually got to the 3 teenagers in question, which early on the WMPD briefly regarded 2 West Memphis teenagers as suspects. Chris Morgan and Brian Holland, both with drug offense histories, had abruptly departed for Oceanside, California 4 days after the bodies were discovered.
Man.
That's not abruptly, that's 4 days.
Right. He waited 4 days.
Morgan was presumed to be at least casually familiar with all 3 murdered boys, having previously driven an ice cream truck route in their neighborhood.
Okay.
Arrested in Oceanside on May 17th, 1993, Morgan and Holland both took polygraph exams administered by the California police. Examiners reported that both men's charts indicated deception when they denied involvement in the murders, though. Oh, okay.
Fuck a polygraph. During subsequent questioning, Morgan claimed a long history of drug and alcohol use, along with blackouts and memory lapse. Oh, you'd never say that. He claimed that he might have killed the victims, but quickly recanted this part of his statement.
Yeah, so he was probably like, yeah, man, I take drugs and I black out sometimes. I could have killed them, I don't know. I just black out. Come on.
Okay. I'll have to keep an eye on this guy. Huh? California police, I don't even remember the people who did it, so yeah, I'm going to be shocked when... California police sent blood and urine samples from Morgan and Holland to the WMPD, which is the West Memphis Police Department, for you guys don't know. But there is no indication that West Memphis investigated Morgan or Holland as suspects following their arrest in Cali.
Wow.
The relevance of Morgan's recanted statement would be later be debated in trial, but was eventually barred from admission as evidence. Yeah, polygraph. Oh, and all the shit he said.
Right. Also, they had a black male as a possible alternate suspect. He was implied during the beginning of the Miss Kelly trial, which we'll get to. According to the local West Memphis police officers, on the evening of May 5th, 8:42 p.m., workers in the Bojangles restaurant, located about a mile from the crime scene, reported seeing a black male who seemed mentally disoriented inside the restaurant's ladies' room.
Huh. Oh, what the hell?
Well, this man was bleeding and had brushed against the restroom walls. Officer Regina Meeks responded to the call, taking the restaurant's manager's report through the eatery's drive-through window.
What?
By then, the man had left, and police did not enter the restroom on that day.
Why wouldn't
what the
they
hell?
not?
West Memphis has a pretty shitty police department already.
Like, do you want to see what he did in the bathroom? Nah. Anybody hurt? No.
You got the chicken? Or?
Right. This is free, right? Yeah, I guess. The day after the victims' bodies were found, Bojangles manager Marty King, thinking there was a possible connection to the bleeding man found in the bathroom, I mean, I would have thought about that, reported the incident to the police officers, who then inspected the ladies' room finally. So you tell me they kept that blood there all night long?
Maybe.
He's like, don't you touch that shit. The man reportedly wore a blue cat's type brace on his arm that had white Velcro on it, which would have been made difficult to tie up and murder 3 young boys.
You would think, but...
King gave the officers a pair of sunglasses he thought the man had left behind, and the detectives took some blood samples from the walls and tiles of the restroom. Police Detective Bryn Ridge testified that he later lost those those blood scrapings.
Oh my gosh, dude.
How the hell?
I don't understand. It doesn't matter where we are in the country, what case we cover, what year it is, what decade it is. Right. Police are always incompetent when it comes to this shit. I don't understand it.
Oh man, I lost the most important thing that...
Ignorant.
A hair identified as belonging to a black male was later recovered from a sheet wrapped around one of the victims.
Oh, shit.
Mm-mm.
Oh, man. At the time of their arrest, though, we'll get to the ones that are actually on trial. We'll go on trial for it. Jesse Miss Kelly Jr. was 17 years old, Baldwin 16, and Damian Echols was 18. Baldwin and Echols had previously been arrested for vandalism and shoplifting, respectively. Miss Kelly had a reputation for his temper and for engaging in fistfights with other teenagers at school.
Oh, he's a little dink.
Right. Miss Kelly and Echols had dropped out of high school. However, Baldwin earned his high grades and demonstrated talent for drawing and sketching, and was encouraged by one of his teachers to study graphic design in college.
I mean, there's always one.
Right.
Wow. Echols and Baldwin were...
It's usually the most messed up people that are good at art and like shit like that. So.
Always, man. Always. That's why I don't trust artists.
Or musicians, because those are... usually a musician has something wrong with them.
All right. Echols and Baldwin were very close friends, bonded over their similar taste in music and fiction, and over their shared distaste for the prevailing culture climate of West Memphis. Like, this place sucks. Situated in the Bible Belt.
Oh, they didn't like the Bible.
Baldwin and Echols were acquainted with Miss Kelly from school, but were not close friends with them. They seen him everyone's like, I'm cigarettes. He got them cigarettes. and booze for their little.
So how'd they come into getting together here?
Well, Echols' family was very poor. Received frequent visits from social workers, and he rarely attended school. He and a girlfriend had run off and later broken into a trailer during a rainstorm, and they were arrested. Though only Echols was charged with burglary. Well, it was freaking raining.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he spent several months in a mental institution in Arkansas and afterwards received full disability status from the Social Security Administration.
Oh, shit.
Really?
So this dude's
Was legit messed up, I guess, huh?
Right.
Well, during Echols' trial, Dr. George Woods testified for the defense that Echols suffered from serious mental illness characterized by grandiose and precursory delusions,
what the hell?
auditory and visual hallucinations,
What the hell?
disordered thought processes, substantial lack of insight, and chronic incapacitated mood swings.
Wait a minute.
This dude just can't control himself.
And he's
around.
out walking around? No.
What do you mean, today?
No, I'm saying.
Like
At this
now?
point, yeah, at this point.
Well, they probably put him on a bunch of medicine.
Oh, geez, that don't help.
Well,
He should be
apparently.
He should be locked up in a freaking nursing home.
You can't just lock everybody up that has mental
Clearly, he
problems.
couldn't live a functional life without being 100%. What do they call it?
Competent? Coherent?
No, when you got somebody with you, what's it called?
Supervised?
Yeah, supervised. Right, you got to be supervised 100% of the time. Come on,
Yeah, I don't know.
got to have a handler.
Maybe, yeah.
Echols had claimed that he obtained superpowers by drinking human blood. At the time of his arrest, Echols was working part-time with a roofing company and expecting a child with his girlfriend, Dominique Tier. They're about to be a family. A broken family.
Broken home.
Police officers James Sudbury and Steve Jones felt that crime had cult overtones.
Sudbury and Jones, all right.
Like, this sounds like a cult shit to me, bud.
Right.
James was like, yeah, sure does.
Bet you they probably had a lot of them in Arkansas.
Arkansas, yeah. And Kentucky and shit like that. Crazy. West Virginia, man. Thumb of Michigan. And Damien, and they thought that Damien Echols might be a suspect because he had interest in occultism. And Jones felt Echols was capable of murdering children. Wow.
Well, sorry, bud. Law don't work like that. You can't just say, I have a hunch.
Right. I mean, the dude was insane. Hallucinating and shit.
Right.
The police interviewed Echols on the 7th of May, 2 days after the bodies were discovered. During a polygraph examination, he denied any involvement. The polygraph examiner claimed that Echols' chart indicated deception. On the 9th of May, during a formal interview by Detective Bryn Ridge, Echols mentioned that one of the victims had wounds to the genitals. Law enforcement viewed this knowledge as incriminating.
Was that not released in the public?
Right. Did you not know? But like, how do you know that?
All right.
We didn't say anything about that.
After a month had passed with little
Well,
progress.
that, usually they throw pictures.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, look what you did.
Or I'm 100% positive the media had to got hold of those because that's a sensational thing. You don't tell me the media wouldn't have known about that? Get out of here.
I doubt they can post pictures.
Well, not post pictures, but they would have mentioned it at least.
Right.
His genitals were mutilated. After a month had passed with little progress in the case, police continued to focus their investigation upon Echols, interrogating him more frequently than any other person.
All right.
Nonetheless, they claimed he was not regarded as a direct suspect, but a source of information.
You know something. That's what they're saying.
June 3rd, police interrogated Jesse Miss Kelly Jr., despite his reported IQ of 72, categorizing him as a borderline intellectual functioning. And his status as a minor, Miss Kelly was questioned alone. Can't do that. His parents were not present during the interrogation.
Uh-oh.
His father gave permission for Miss Kelly to go with police, but did not explicitly give permission for his son to be questioned or interrogated.
Right.
Don't cops know this?
They do, but they're idiots. They think they can get away with it. Miss Kelly was questioned for roughly 12 hours. Only 2 segments totaling 46 minutes were recorded.
Well, dumb.
Miss Kelly quickly recanted his confession, citing intimidation, coercion, fatigue, veiled threats from the police. Veiled?
Yeah.
Veiled?
Veiled.
Yeah. Veiled threats from the police. Miss Kelly specifically said he was scared of the cops during his confession. Though he was informed of his Miranda rights, Miss Kelly later claimed he did not fully understand them. Well, he is how old? Well, I guess he should have. 17, 18.
He's like, what does the right to remain silent mean?
What you mean?
What does anything I say can and will be used against me?
What do you mean I got right to all Mirandas?
Nice.
But hey, man, government said so. She's like, damn.
All right.
All right, let me tell my husband. 1996, the Arkansas Supreme Court ruled that Miss Kelly's confession was voluntary and that he did, in fact, understand the Miranda warning and its consequences.
How do they know what's in his mind?
Right.
Jeez, portion of Miss Kelly's statements to the police were leaked to the press and reported on the front page of the Memphis Commercial Appeal before any of the trials began.
Press is stupid.
And of course, shortly after Miss Kelly's first confession, police arrested Echols and his close friend Baldwin.
Oh, they arrested him, huh?
8 months after his original confession on February 17, 1994, Miss Kelly made another statement to the police. His lawyer, Dan Stidham, remained in the room and continually advised Miss Kelly not to say anything.
Like, dude, shut up.
Well, he ignored this advice and went on to detail how the boys were abused and murdered.
Oh, no.
Stidham, who was later elected to a municipal judgeship, had written a detailed critique of what he asserts are major police errors and misconceptions during their investigation.
All right.
He made similar comments during a radio show interview in May 2010. Good for you, guy.
Well, he recognized how stupid the cops were in this, how he could have easily got him off. But how could you do that as a lawyer, man? You want to do it for your own career and money, but also, do you really want to get these people off?
If you're following the law.
All right. Reasonable doubt.
Not only that, I mean, if you can't prove it,
exactly.
It's my job to not prove it.
All right. Vicki Hutchinson, a new resident of West Memphis, would play an important role in the investigation. Though she would later recant her testimony, claiming her statements were fabricated due in part to coercion from the Popo. 6th of May, 1993, before the victims were found later the same day, Hutchinson took a polygraph exam by Detective Don Bray at the Marion Police Department to determine whether or not she had stolen money from her West Memphis employer. Hutchinson's young son Aaron was also present and proved as a distraction that Bray was unable to administer the polygraph. So no polygraph. And,
why do we care?
Right.
Aaron, who was a playmate of the murdered boys, who's the son of Hutchinson, mentioned to Detective Bray that the boys had been killed at the playhouse. When the bodies proved to have been discovered near where Aaron indicated, Bray asked Aaron for further details, and he claimed that he had witnessed the murders committed by Satanists who spoke Spanish.
Oh!
Aaron's further statements were wildly inconsistent after this, and he was unable to identify Baldwin, Echols, or Miss Kelly from photo lineups, and there was no playhouse at the location Aaron indicated, but they just said earlier that the bodies proved to have been discovered near where Aaron indicated. Makes no sense. A police officer leaked portions of Aaron's statements to the press, contributing to the growing belief that murders were a part of a satanic rite.
He thought they were speaking Spanish, but they were speaking in
They could have been doing
tongues.
The satanic stuff, right?
The Latin or
Hebrew or whatever.
Latin.
The fuck
I think it's
they do.
Latin stuff like that, isn't it? Latin tongues
so.
or some shit.
No Domini, Sam Dom
Abdullah Malgada. Abdullah Malgada. About June 1st, 1993, on or about June 1st, 1993, Hutchinson agreed to police suggestions to place hidden microphones in her home during an encounter with Echols. Miss Kelly agreed to introduce Hutchinson to Echols. During the conversation, Hutchinson reported that Echols made no incriminating statements. Police said the recording was inaudible, but Hutchinson claimed that the recording was audible. Okay. On the second...
So she said...
All right.
The police are trying to say, we don't know.
All right.
Because we couldn't hear nothing. But she's like, well, no, there was nothing said on the tape, but you could hear everything.
Right.
Police are dirty already.
Yeah, police are assholes. We could not use anything on a tape. Assholes. June 3rd, 1993, Hutchinson told police that about 2 weeks after the murders were committed, she, Echols, and Miss Kelly attended a Wiccan meeting in Terrell, Arkansas. Hutchinson claimed that at the Wiccan meeting, a drunken Echols openly bragged about killing the 3 boys.
Well, Miss Kelly was first questioned on June 3rd, 1993, a day after Hutchinson's purported confession. Hutchinson was unable to recall the Wiccan meeting location and did not name any other participants in the purported meeting. It was a day after Miss Kelly was first questioned on June 3rd, 93, a day after Hutchinson's purported confession. Hutchinson was unable to recall the Wiccan meeting that she just said on June 2nd that happened. She claims that she implicated Echols and Miss Kelly to avoid facing criminal charges and to obtain a reward for the discovery of the murderers.
Oh.
I don't know about this Hutchinson chick.
Okay. Miss Kelly was tried separately. Echols and Baldwin were tried together in 1994. Under the Bruton rule, Miss Kelly's confession could not be admitted against his co-defendants. Thus, he was tried separately. Right, because he confessed they didn't.
Right.
All 3 defendants got guilty. All 3 defendants pleaded not guilty. During Miss Kelly's trial, Richard Ofshe, an expert on false confessions and police coercion, and a professor of sociology at UC Berkeley, testified that the brief recording of Miss Kelly's interrogation was a classic example of police coercion. Oh, yeah, because they're dicks. Right. In this picture right now, a smoky room with the light swinging back.
Right. Putting their hands on the table, getting in his face. You're going to go to prison forever.
Right. Critics have, and a nice guy says, no, listen here, man. Just tell us what you need. What we need to know.
We'll try to help you as much as we can.
You need anything? Cigarettes? Water?
I mean, yeah, cigarettes, even though you're 17.
Right. I don't care.
Right.
Critics has also stated that Miss Kelly's various confessions were in many respects inconsistent with each other, as well as with the particulars of the crime scene and murder victims, including, for example, an admission that Miss Kelly watched Damien rape one of the boys when there was no
rape at all, apparently.
Right.
Well, police had initially suspected that the victims had been raped because their anuses were dilated. However, there were no forensic evidence indicating that the murder boys had been raped. Dilation of the anus is a normal post-mortem condition.
Yeah, it's got to let all the air out.
It's bigger.
All the air has to come out somewhere.
Yes.
Fart and
especially they're in water, so I'm sure, February 5th, 1994, Miss Kelly was convicted by a jury of 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree murder. Court sentenced him to life plus 40 years. His conviction was appealed, but the Arkansas Supreme Court affirmed the conviction.
Dang, how long did that last? After the trial started, how long did the trial last?
Trial started in 94.
In January?
And they did the murder in June or May of 93.
Man, that was quick.
Yeah.
Shit. 3 weeks later, Echols and Baldwin went to trial. The prosecution accused the 3 young men of committing a satanic murder. The prosecution called Dale W. Griffiths, a graduate from the unaccredited Columbia Pacific University, as an expert in the occult to testify the murders were a satanic ritual.
Wait a minute.
Right.
It's an unaccredited university, and it sounds like it's in freaking South America or something. Anybody can go there.
All right. Where the hell's it at?
Oh, it's in San Rafael, California.
Makes sense.
Individual degree programs have not been accredited by the recognized programmatic accrediting body might not be accepted. So if you graduate from here, you don't get accepted into anything that's real.
Right.
Oh, jeez, dude. And they're using this guy?
Texas has recognized it, so I guess if you want to move to Texas after you went there.
Okay, not a good start for you guys, prosecutors.
Like, here's some guy who did college in his basement.
They went to South Harmon Institute of Technology. You don't know what that is, but...
March 19th, 1994, Echols and Baldwin were found guilty on 3 counts of murder. The court sentenced Echols to death and Baldwin to life in prison. At the trial, the defense team argued that news articles from the time could have been the source for Echols' knowledge about the genital mutilation.
That's what I said.
Echols said his knowledge was limited to what was on TV.
Well, the prosecution claimed that Echols' knowledge was nonetheless too close to the facts since there was no public reporting of drowning or that one victim had been mutilated more than the others. Bullshit.
There was nothing.
Bullshit.
Get out of here.
Echols testified that Detective Ridge's description of their earlier conversation, which was not recorded, regarding those particular details was inaccurate. It was indeed that some other claims by Ridge were lies. Oh, wow.
Oh, shit.
Maria Leverett, an investigative journalist and the author of Devil's Knot, argues that Echols' information may have come from police leaks, such as Detective Gitchell's comments to Mark Byers that circulated amongst the local public. Right. The local public are all talking about this.
Right.
The defense team objected when the prosecution attempted to question Echols about his past violent behaviors, but the defense objections were overruled.
Of course they were.
Well, that's... You kind of need to know that stuff if we're trying to convict this guy.
Right. Man, this is a shit show from the very beginning. Seems like a little small town shit here. They want to get this shit done quick.
Right, of course.
There has been widespread criticism of the handling of the crime scene by the police. We can already see just a tidbit from what we know. It's already stupidity. Miss Kelly's former attorney, Dan Stidham, cited multiple substantial police errors at the crime scene, characterizing it as literally trampled, especially the creek bed. The bodies, he said, had been removed from the water before the coroner arrived to examine the scene and determine the state of rigor mortis, allowing the bodies to decay on the creek bank to be exposed to sunlight and insects.
Oh.
The police did not telephone the coroner until after 2 hours after the discovery of a floating shoe, resulting in a late appearance by the coroner.
Right, because they're like, Hey, coroner, there's probably a body nearby. Right. You better get down here.
We found some shoes and stuff, so...
Right. Officials failed to drain the creek in a timely manner and secure possible evidence in the water.
Oh, wow.
The creek was sandbagged after the bodies were pulled from the water.
Oh, sure.
Oh, you can't do that. You should have left the bodies right there and then let the water drain out.
Yes.
Stidham has called the coroner's investigation extremely substandard. There was a small amount of blood found at the scene that was never tested.
Oh, wow.
According to HBO's documentaries, Paradise Lost, The Child Murders at Robin Hood Hills, and Paradise Lost 2 Revelations, no blood was found at the crime scene at all, indicating that the location where the bodies were found was not necessarily the location where the murders happened.
I don't think so.
After the initial investigation, the police failed to control disclosure of information and speculation about the crime scene. We already seen that one guy was leaking shit to the papers.
Right. This is a shit show from the very beginning.
These cops suck.
Wow. According to Leverett, police records were a mess. To call them disorderly would be putting it mildly. Leverett speculated that a small local police force was overwhelmed by the crime, which is unlike they had ever investigated. Police refused an unsolicited offer of aid and consultation from the violent crimes expert of Arkansas State Police. Nah, we got it, bud. Have you ever had anything like this? Nah, we figured it out. Let's take a look back in the books from 1912.
Right.
And critics suggested that this was due to the WMPD's being under investigation by the Arkansas State Police for suspected theft from the Crittenden County Drug Task Force.
Oh, what the hell?
No. What the? We got a corrupt police department too? Sounds like it. Everything's makes sense now.
What the hell? Why are you stealing from the Drug Task Force?
Oh, well, Leverett further noted that some of the physical evidence was stored in paper stacks obtained from a supermarket, with the supermarket's name printed on the bags, rather than a containers of known and controlled origin. This shit just little rinky-dink
they had them just laying around the office.
What the hell?
Emptied out whatever was in the bag and then put this evidence in it, dude. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no, the Crittenden County Drug Task Force, huh? I bet there's got to be something about that.
No, that was the West Memphis.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
They stole from the Crittenden County Drug Task Force.
Wow.
When police speculated about the assailant, the juvenile probation officer assistant at the scene of the murder speculated that Echoes was capable of committing the murders. He stated, "It looks like Damien Echoes finally killed someone."
Oh, shit.
Damn.
All right.
Brent Turvey, a forensic scientist and criminal profiler, stated in the film Paradise Lost 2 that human bite marks could have been left on at least one of the victims. However, these potential bite marks were first noticed in photographs years after the trials and were not inspected by a board-certified medical examiner until 4 years after the murders. Jeez. What? The defense's expert testified that the mark in the question was not an adult bite mark, while experts put on by the state concluded there was no bite mark at all.
Okay. The state's experts had examined the actual bodies for any marks, and others conducted expert photo analysis of the injuries. Upon further examination, it was concluded that if these marks were bite marks, they did not match the teeth of any of the three convicted. May 1994, the three defendants appealed their convictions, of course. The convictions were upheld on direct appeal. June 1996, Miss Kelly's lawyer, Dan Stidham, was preparing to appeal the U.S. Supreme Court.
All right, well.
Taking the shit to the Supreme Court, baby.
We'll go all the way to 2007 when Echoes petitioned for a retrial based on a statute permitting post-conviction testing of DNA evidence due to technological advances made since 94, which might provide exoneration for the wrongly convicted.
True.
The petition failed when the original trial judge, David Burnett, disallowed presentation of this information in his court.
How?
This ruling was in turn thrown out by the Arkansas Supreme Court as to all three defendants on November 4th, 2010.
Okay.
Wow.
John Mark Byers, the adopted father of victim Christopher Byers, gave a knife to the cameraman Doug Cooper, who was working with documentary makers Joe Berlinger and Bruce Sinofsky while filming the first Paradise Lost feature. The knife was a folding hunting knife manufactured by Kershaw. According to the statements given by Berlinger and Snifofsky, Cooper informed them of his receipt of the knife on December 19, 1993. After the documentary crew returned to New York, Berlinger and Snifofsky were reported to have discovered what appeared to be blood on the knife. HBO executives ordered them to return the knife to the West Memphis Police Department. The knife was not received at the West Memphis Police Department until January 8, 1994.
So they were doing this documentary before the trials even began, huh? And then they return a knife with blood on it, but the trials hadn't even started yet.
Yeah, why would he have the knife, though?
Because he gave it to him as like a gift or something, I guess.
Oh, he must have got it back.
And then, like,
off of him or something.
They looked at it and was like, what's this on the knife? Byers initially claimed that the knife had never been used. However, after blood was found on the knife, Byers stated that he had used it only once to cut deer meat. Yeah. When told the blood matched both his and Chris's blood type, Byers said he had no idea how the blood might have gotten on the knife. During interrogation, West Memphis police suggested to Byers that he might have left the knife out accidentally, and Byers agreed with this.
Yeah, sure.
The police are like, well, I think you might have left it out. He's like, yeah, I think so.
All right.
These guys. Oh, Byers later stated that he may have cut his thumb with the knife. Further testing of the knife provided inconclusive results about the source of the blood. Jeez, dude. This whole thing's just dumb.
Wow, what the hell?
If these guys get out of prison, I hope they sue the shit out of everybody.
And now they're trying to say that John Mark Byers killed him?
The blood matching him and his son's type right there.
His freaking stepson? Byers agreed to and passed a polygraph test about the murders during the filming of Paradise. Oh, he did it during it, huh? Paradise Lost 2. But the documentary indicated that Byers was under the influence of several psychoactive prescription medications that could have affected the test results. Anyway, nobody believes polygraphs.
That's like when a police dog comes up to your car.
Right.
But the whole time the police officers are going around saying, tapping on the car to go where the dog to sniff, and then, the dog found something.
Yeah.
Fuck on it. And then that gives them probable cause to search your shit.
Mm-hmm. And there's been a few times where they even showed on cops that they didn't find anything.
Right.
Like, well, there must have been something here at one time.
No. How about you're directing the dog to do it?
My dog always gets it right.
Well, following their convictions, Eccles, Miss Kelly, and Baldwin submitted imprints of their teeth. These were compared to the alleged bite marks on Stephen Branch's forehead that had not been mentioned in the original autopsy or trial.
How not? It's on his freaking forehead.
No matches were found from either of these three. John Mike Byers had his teeth removed in 1997 after the first trial, but before an imprint could be made. Oh. His stated reasons for the removal are apparently contradictory. What? He has claimed both that the seizure medication he was taking caused periodontal disease and that he planned the removal because of other kinds of dental problems which had troubled him for years.
Could be
true. He got all of his teeth removed?
Well, they're probably rotting from the medicine.
After an expert examined autopsy photos and noted what he thought might be the imprint of a belt buckle on Byers' corpse, the elder Byers revealed to the police that he had spanked his stepson shortly before the boy disappeared. Oh, jeez, this Byers guy's not looking good.
No, right. What's going on here? This is a weird little turn. Wasn't expecting this at all. October 2003, Vicky Hutchinson, here comes this bitch, who had played a part in the arrest of Miss Kelly, Eccles, and Baldwin, gave an interview to the Arkansas Times, in which she stated that every word she had given to the police was a fabrication. She further asserted that the police had implied that if she did not cooperate with them, they would take her child away.
Oh, jeez. I'm sure they did, too.
She also said that when she visited the police station, employees had photographs of Eccles, Baldwin, and Miss Kelly on the wall and were using them as dart targets, which is probably true as well. Right. She also claims that an audio tape the police said was unintelligible and that they eventually lost, of course they did, was perfectly clear and contained no incriminating statements.
Jeez.
Oh, no. What's going on here?
2007, DNA collected from the crime scene was tested. None was found to match DNA from Eccles, Baldwin, or Miss Kelly.
Uh-oh.
A hair not inconsistent with Stevie Branch's stepfather, Terry, was found tied into knots used to bind one of the victims. What?
Where the fuck did this guy come
from? We got Terry Hobbs coming out of the woodworks here.
Holy moly.
Did the stepfathers get together to kill the kids? They're like, I'm not sick of this shit.
Are they part of the
satanic cult?
Yeah, what does she call it? A Wiccan? A Wackin?
Wiccan, yeah, that's witches and stuff, right? Witchcraft. The prosecutors, while conceding that no DNA evidence tied the accused to the scene, said the state stands behind its convictions of Eccles and its co-defendants. Of course they do. Pamela Hobbs' May 5th, 2009 declaration in the United States District Court, Eastern District of Arkansas, Western Division, indicates that one hair was consistent with the hair of Terry's friend, David Jacoby.
What's going on here?
And she's saying, additionally, after the murders, my sister Jolynn McCaughey and I found in Terry's nightstand a knife that Stevie carried with him constantly, and which I believed was with him when he died. What the hell? It was a pocket knife that my father had given to Stevie, and Stevie loved that knife. I had been shocked that the police did not find it with Stevie when they found his body. I had always assumed that my son's murderer had taken the knife during the crime. We did. It was your husband.
Oh.
I could not believe it was in Terry's things. He had never told me he had it. Why wouldn't he say that at least, right?
Right.
Also, my sister Jolynn told me that she saw Terry wash clothes, bed linens, and curtains from Stevie's rooms at an odd time around the time of the murders. Why would she not? Why is she just saying something now in 2009?
Right. It's a guarantee Terry never washed any type of clothes, bed linens, or curtains.
Definitely right.
In his whole entire
Who washes
life.
curtains?
Right.
There was no additional new evidence discovered in 2007 that I cannot now recall, she says. In 2013, written statements from two men, Billy Wayne Stewart and Benny Guy, were introduced to the court. They both claimed to have had information on the case linking Terry Hobbs to the murders, but were ignored by police initially. Jeez.
What the fuck?
Who is this Terry Hobbs guy, and how well liked is he in the community, and how many police know this guy?
What the hell is going on here? Who?
So we're finding blood on a knife that the Byers guy gave
Another
to the
knife.
documentary. Then we're finding Terry Hobbs' hair and one of the ropes or the strings that were used to tie the kids up.
Right, and
the dude had the knife that the kid always had on
Oh
him.
my!
What the hell?
And he's washing bed linen.
Right, curtains.
In the boy's room. Wow.
Jeez.
July 2008. It was revealed that Kent Arnold, the jury foreman on the Echoes Baldwin trial, had discussed the case with an attorney prior to the beginning of deliberations. Oh, no. Arnold was accused of advocating for guilt of the West Memphis Three and sharing knowledge of inadmissible evidence. Oh, no. Like the Jesse Miss Kelly statements with other jurors.
Oh, no. Come on.
I mean, you have to mistrial, right?
Can this case get any more screwed up?
Yeah.
We're not even finding this out. This is 15 years after the trial now that this is coming out.
Right.
Wow.
At the time, legal experts agreed that this issue could result in the reversal of the convictions of Jason Baldwin and Damien Eccles. September 2008, attorney, which is now Judge Daniel Stidham,
Oh, look at Stidham, right.
who represented Miss Kelly in 1904, testified that the post-conviction relief hearing. Okay.
Oh, Stidman testified under oath that during the trial, Judge David Burnett erred by making an improper communication with the jury during its deliberations. Oh, you're not supposed to communicate with these guys while they're deliberating.
No.
Stidham overheard Judge Burnett discuss taking a lunch break with the jury foreman and heard the foreman reply that the jury was almost finished. He testified that Judge Burnett responded, "You'll need food for when you come back for sentencing," and that the foreman asked in return what would happen if the defendant was acquitted. Stidham said the judge closed the door without answering. He testified that his own failure to put this incident onto the court record and his failure to meet minimum requirements in state law to represent a defendant in a capital murder case was evidence of ineffective assistance of counsel, and that Miss Kelly's conviction should therefore be vacated.
Oh, wow. All right.
This little town, dude, we have to look into these people that are
Right.
behind all the upper echelons of shit.
Gotta
'Cause
be the history of West Memphis, Arkansas.
it's crazy stuff, dude.
My. This is taking a turn for the waste. Oh, man. Did the daddies do it?
I don't know.
Daddy and their friends? What the hell's going on here? Are they Wickers? Wiccans?
Bunch of wickers.
Oh, man. Are these even white people?
Of course they're white.
Right.
Yes, they're all white.
October 29, 2007, papers were filed in federal court by Echols' defense lawyers seeking a retrial or his immediate release from prison. The filing cited DNA evidence linking Terry Hobbs, who was a stepfather of one of the victims, to the crime scene, and new statements from Hobbs' now ex-wife.
Yeah, so now she's coming out believing that Terry did it as well. So
Also presented in the filing was new expert testimony that the supposed knife marks on the victims, including the jury's injuries to Byers' genitals, were in fact the result of animal predation after the bodies had been dumped. So the animals ate that shit off. Ouch. September 10th.
well, not really. Can't feel it.
Right. September 10th, 2008. Circuit Court Judge David Burnett denied the request for a retrial. How? Citing the DNA test as inconclusive. The ruling was appealed to the Arkansas Supreme Court, which heard oral arguments in the case on September 30th, 2010.
Well, November 4th, 2010, the Arkansas Supreme Court ordered a lower judge to consider whether newly analyzed DNA evidence might exonerate the three. The justices also instructed the lower court to examine claims of misconduct by the jurors who sentenced Damian Echols to death and Jesse Miskelly and Baldwin to life in prison.
It's all there.
Early December 2010, David Burnett was elected to the Arkansas State Senate. Oh, of course he was. Now he's gone. His case is taken over by another judge, right?
Yep.
Judge David Laser was selected to replace him and preside in the evidentiary hearings mandated by the successful appeal. Yeah, this David Burnett guy was dirty all along. And look, now he's a senator.
Right.
Oh, come on. You got to do dirty shit to do. I don't care. If you're in any part of that government, you're dirty.
Right.
Sorry. I don't give a fuck what side you're on.
Yep, that's very true. Echols' mental stability during the years immediately prior to the Moitas and during his trial was the focus of appellate legal team in their appeal attempts. They're like, man, this dude
It's crazy.
well
documented, and it's, yeah.
Right. Well documented, this dude was nuts. Shouldn't have been walking the streets. He thought he was chasing Pokemon in real life.
Right.
In his efforts to win a new trial, Echols, 27 at the time of the appeal, claimed he was incompetent to stand trial because of a history of mental illness. The record on appeal spells out a long history of Echols' mental health problems, including a May 5th, 1992 Arkansas Department of Youth Services referral for possible mental illness, a year to the day before the Moitas.
Ooh.
Hospital records for his treatment in Little Rock 11 months before the killing show a history of self-mutilation and assertions to hospital staff that he gained power by drinking blood. He's like, I assure you, I get so powerful when I drink that blood. Also, that he had inside of him the spirit of a woman who had killed her husband and that was having hallucinations. No, that's what you were hallucinating, bud.
Right, exactly. He also told mental health workers that he was going to influence the world. The appellate legal team argued that Echols did not waive his assertion that he was not mentally competent before his 94 trial because he was not competent to waive it.
Right.
Right. To assist in the appeals process, Echols' appellate team retained a Berkeley, California-based forensic psychiatrist, Dr. George Woods, to make their case.
Uh-oh.
Echols' lawyers claimed that his condition worsened during the trial, which he developed a psychotic euphoria that caused him to believe he would evolve into a superior entity and eventually be transported to a different world.
Nice.
So the whole time he's sitting at trial, I was like, this ain't gonna matter. I'll be out of here soon anyways, right? His psychosis dominated his perceptions of everything going on in court, Woods wrote.
Wow. Echols' mental state while in prison, awaiting trial, was also called in question by his appellate team. While in prison, Echols wrote letters to Gloria Shettles, an investigator for his defense team. Echols sought to overturn his conviction based on trial error, including juror misconduct, as well as a result of DNA status report filed on the 17th of July, 2007, which concluded none of the genetic material recovered at the scene of the crimes was attributable to Mr. Echols. Echols' co-defendant, Jason Baldwin, or defendant Jason Miskelly.
Look at Jesse McKelly. Look at Echols is the one that's
doing this, right?
Getting all this shit together and getting all these guys off on this shit, too.
He's like, how in the hell when none of that DNA was any of us?
Right.
I mean, come on. Although most of the genetic material recovered from the scene was attributable to the victims of the offenses, some of it cannot be attributed to either the victims or the defendants.
Jeez, so there's so much DNA,
shit.
dude.
There's so much DNA.
Advanced DNA and other scientific evidence, combined with additional evidence from several different witnesses and experts, released in 2007 in October, had cast strong doubts on the original convictions. A hearing on Echols' petition for a writ of habeas corpus was held in the Federal District Court for the Eastern District of Arkansas following this. They're like, we need to relook at this shit. I think something's going on here.
You are not kidding. 19th of August, 2011. Echols, along with Baldwin and Miskelly, entered an Elford plea, which asserting their innocence. While asserting their innocence, the judge sentenced them to 18 years and 78 days, the amount of time they had served, and levied a suspended sentence of 10 years. Echols' sentence was reduced to 3 counts of first-degree murder. Lawyers representing the West Memphis 3 reached a plea deal that allowed the men to be released from prison.
There we go.
They were transferred to the hearing with their possessions.
They're like, you're getting out of here today, boys.
Right. The plea deal did not technically result in full exoneration. Some of the convictions would stand, but the men would not admit guilt.
Whatever, get me the fuck out of this prison.
The counsel representing the men say they would continue to pursue full exoneration.
Well, regarding that Alford plea, it's a legal mechanism that allows defendants to plead guilty while still asserting their actual innocence in cases where defendants concede that prosecutors have sufficient evidence to secure a conviction.
Right.
Stephen Braga, an attorney with Ropes and Gray, who took up Echols' defense on a pro bono basis beginning in 2009, did it for free.
Wow.
Negotiated the plea agreement with the prosecutors. Factors cited by prosecutor Scott Ellington for agreeing to the plea deal included that 2 of the victims' families had joined the cause of the defense. That the mother of a witness who testified about Echols' confession had questioned her daughter's truthfulness, and that the state crime lab employee who collected fiber evidence at the Echols and Baldwin homes after the arrest had died.
Oh, no.
So we can't even get her thing out of it, or guy, or whatever. As part of the plea deal, the 3 men cannot pursue civil action against the state for wrongful imprisonment. I guess, dude, because they knew they were going to get their asses sued. And they're like, we'll let you out, but you cannot sue us. They're like, fuck it, dude, I don't care. Get me out of this place.
Right.
Damn. They cover their asses. They knew what they were doing.
Wow.
Damn, dude.
I mean, now they're back at square one.
That would have been the first thing that I would have done.
Now you're back at square one.
Yeah. Who's the killers?
Oh, many of the men's supporters and opponents who still believe them guilty were unhappy with the unusual plea deal. 2011, supporters pushed Arkansas Governor Mike Beebe to pardon Echols, Baldwin, and Miss Kelly based on their innocence. Beebe said he would deny the request unless there was evidence showing someone else committed the moitus. Prosecutor Scott Ellington said that Arkansas State Crime Laboratory would have to seek help out other suspects by running searches on DNA evidence produced in private laboratory tests during the defense's team's investigation. So they had more?
I'm sure.
This would include running the results through the FBI's combined DNA index system database. Oh no, you don't want to bring the FBI involved in this. Ellington said that although he still considered the men guilty, the 3 would likely be acquitted if a new trial were held because of the powerful legal counsel representing them now, the loss of evidence over time, and the change of heart among some of the witnesses.
They're like, screw this trial, no reason for it. Judge, just let them go.
They'll walk free.
The families of the 3 victims are divided in their opinions as to the guilt or innocence of the West Memphis 3. In 2000, the biological father of Christopher Byers, Rick Murray, expresses doubts about the guilty verdicts on the West Memphis 3 website. Oh, so he doesn't even believe it, huh? Because he thinks that the stepdad had something to do with it. 2007, Pamela Hobbs, the mother of victim Stevie Branch, joined those who have publicly questioned the verdicts, calling for a reopening of the verdicts and further investigation of the evidence.
All right, she's like, man.
I found this knife.
I can't believe I was married to that bastard. Right. Slept in the same bed.
Well, even in late 2007, Mark Byers, who was previously vehemently, I think it's vehement, who was previously vehement in his beliefs that Echols, Miss Kelly, and Baldwin were guilty, also announced that he now believes they are innocent because I did it.
He's like, well, I know it. How do you know? Trust me.
He says, I had made the comment, if it were ever proven to the 3 to be innocent, I'd be the first to lead the charge for their freedom.
Oh, wow.
He said, I'd take every opportunity that I have to voice that the West Memphis 3 are innocent and the evidence and proof they're innocent.
Wow.
It's true.
Well, Byers has spoken to the media on behalf of the conviction and has expressed his desire for justice for the families of both the victims and the 3 accused. 2010, District Judge Brian S. Miller ordered Terry Hobbs, the stepfather of victim Stevie Branch, to pay $17,590 to Dixie Chick singer Natalie Maines for legal costs stemming from a defamation lawsuit he filed against the band. Why, they made a song?
She must have came out.
Did they make a song? Oh, and
she must have came out and said, I think it was Terry Hobbs. Right?
All right.
Right.
And now he has to pay her.
Right. Hobbs claimed Maines accused him of the killings in a letter posted on the band's website and in comments she made at a Little Rock rally in 2007 in support of the 3 men convicted.
Wow.
Really? Damn, so these guys had some power behind them, huh? Yeah, that's probably... All this is when it started. They got all that new defense and all that shit, which was powerful. Wow, dude.
Well, Miller dismissed the suit Hobbs filed over Maine's remarks and writings, implying that he was involved in killing his stepson. The judge said Hobbs had chosen to involve himself in public discussion over whether the convictions were just. Right? He was trying to.
That is true, right? Well, Johnny Douglas, a former longtime FBI agent and current criminal profiler, said the murders were more indicative of a single murderer intent on degrading and punishing the victims than of a trio of unsophisticated teenagers. Douglas believed that the perp had a violent history and was familiar with the victims and with local geography. Douglas served as the FBI unit chief of the investigative support unit of the National Center for the Analysis of Violent Crime for 25 years.
Fantastic.
He stated in his report for Echo's legal team that there was no evidence the murders were linked to satanic rituals and that post-mortem animal predation could explain the alleged knife injuries, which was proven that it was, I guess.
Right.
He said the victims had died from a combination of blunt force trauma and drowning in a crime which he believed was driven by personal cause. So who had, it's got to be one of the damn dads, dude.
Right. All of them, though?
At least the two stepdads that don't really care about their sons anyways, you know.
Why would they do all? Something happened where all of them fucked up.
Well, the one admitted to beating his son with a belt.
Right. Did they lose like a Little League game that day?
Like, damn, we're not getting ice cream.
Right. Echoes relocated to Salem, Massachusetts. Oh, that's not a place where you want to go, but oh no, Salem's and Salem, Massachusetts.
Salem, Massachusetts is the witch trials.
Yeah, that's the one. Oh no. He was like, oh, this witch I'm gonna go to Witch City.
That's that ironic, don't you think?
Wow. Well, anyway, Echoes relocated to Salem, Massachusetts with his wife and his intentions of returning to Arkansas.
He has no intentions. He's I'm never going back to that.
I'm leaving
show.
with intentions to return. You know, I tend to return.
He ended up.
It's like, don't you want to sell the house? Like, no.
I took that out of the episode, but he ended up marrying some chick he was doing some research and shit with in prison.
Oh, okay. So he had no intentions on coming back to Arkansas, where he spent basically his whole life under false pretenses.
Right.
In an interview with Piers Morgan, he said
it was
that
only 18 years. He was 17. He's still 40 years old. Dude's got everything ahead of him. Seriously. Well, he does, because you'll see right here. Dude's actually done some amazing shit since he's been out.
I'm surprised he survived that long in prison. No, child killers and all that, they get...
Oh, I'm sure they were heavily guarded.
Yeah, even the guards.
Yeah, they don't care.
Interview with Piers Morgan, he said that he would like to have a career in writing and visual arts. Echoes self-published the memoir Almost Home, My Life Story, Volume 1, 2005. He did that while he was still in prison. After his release, he has worked on a number of additional media projects. Music. Echoes co-wrote the lyrics to the song Army Reserve on Pearl Jam's self-titled album 2006.
This dude's getting out of... oh, wait. He's still in prison while he's doing this. He's writing the lyrics to Pearl Jam songs.
Echoes and punk musician Michael Graves, the latter of the former vocalist for Misfits, released an album titled Illusions on October 27.
2007.
Yeah, 2007. Wow. Art. Echoes began creating art while on death row as a side effect of my spiritual and magical practice, he says. The Capro Gallery in Los Angeles exhibited Echoes' artwork from March 19th, April 26, 2016. The focus of the exhibit, titled Salem, draws attention to the comparison between the historical U.S. Salem witch trials and Echoes' own experience during a modern-day U.S. witch hunt, known for false accusations of a satanic ritual abuse.
Good.
Yeah, but nothing was satanic about it. I don't know where they get that.
Because the one boy that claimed it, and then the press leaked it out, and that's how it became.
Right.
And plus, the one chick supposedly said they went to a Wiccan thing.
Wiki. Wiki. A March 23rd, 2016, Echoes gave a presentation about his art processes at Rubin Museum of Art. Echoes' poetry has appeared in Porcupine Literary Arts Magazine, Volume 8, Issue 2, if you guys want to know that one. He has written nonfiction for the Arkansas Literary Forum. Look at that. Arkansas was like, come on here, buddy. Since its release, he has published a nonfiction book about both his childhood and incarceration. Life After Death. That's in 2012, which includes material from his 2005 memoir. And he was like, I don't get lazy.
I'll just take some from my memoir and put it in there.
There we go. He and Laurie Davis, a New York City landscape architect who initiated a correspondence with Echoes in 1999 and ultimately became his wife, co-authored Yours for Eternity, a love story on death row. And that released in 2014.
Good for them, dude. Wow, that was you want to talk about a roller coaster of a damn case.
No, it's not even done.
I know.
You tell me they're not pursuing charges with the fathers? The stepfather and all that? I don't understand. That's it, huh? That's freaking it. Wow. This don't make no sense.
Well,
And how did these guys even become even?
June of 2022, a judge rejects the West Memphis 3 members' request for a new DNA testing. To this day, January 9th, 2023, Damon Echols files an appeal to Arkansas Supreme Court for DNA evidence. He's still trying to get his shit out there to get it fully exonerated, dude. So this story's not over, guys. As far as these 3 go, well, have they ever even looked into anybody else?
They should be looking into Terry Hobbs and John Michael Byers. Where the hell?
Yeah, but Echols wants to do this DNA test to
Right, he's like, I'll give you my DNA.
Jason Baldwin from the group of the supposed killers says this is a great opportunity for West Memphis, state of Arkansas, Pam Hicks, the Byers family, and the Moore family to have definitive proof of who murdered Christopher, Michael, and Stevie.
So they're all down for it.
Justice demands all avenues be pursued to identify the murderers or the murderer.
All right.
From the beginning, Jesse, Damien, and Jason have cooperated to the best of their So why I don't understand why this judge keeps dude.
Tell you something buried.
These judges, something it goes deeper than something because it's somebody that's notable in that community or something, or was denied their request to DNA, saying essentially that only inmates who are still in prison have that right. No,
we get out of here. They were in prison. They still denied it.
Right. Well, no, actually, they did the new one. The DNA while they were in prison is actually how they got out of prison.
Right.
The new DNA stuff.
match.
Right. But now there's DNA has advanced so far in the last 20 years since then, 15 years, whatever the hell it's been. They're idiots for not doing it. And you think the family would be like.
And who was that first guy at the restaurant with the blood in the women's bathroom? Right. And
the black guy that nobody ever
happened.
Came upon him.
Something happened. Something happened with this Terry Hobbs guy, the Byers dad, and the stepdad. They're both stepdad. Ain't that weird?
That's what I said. And those the 2 stepdads were the ones that had the knife and the one that the hair was supposedly found on. Well, that could be though, because it was they tied him with their shoelaces, so his hair would.
Right, but he also had the kid's knife in his pocket. I mean, in his drawer. But anyway, no,
that literally happens to me.
No, the Byers dad had a knife, and the Hobbs guy had a knife. They both had separate knives with blood on it.
Well, no, the one knife
was the one that his son always had.
Yeah, the Hobbs guy had the one that the kid would have had on him had they found it.
Right.
You know, because it was his favorite knife. And now this guy's just got it in his drawer. He's got it in his nightstand drawer.
Linens and carpets.
Washing the curtains, watching all that shit.
Right.
Didn't tell his wife that he had
the son's knife.
The son's favorite knife that he never left home without.
Right.
I mean, and they haven't looked into these guys at all.
Something's a little fishy there, boys.
But even they said at the end of this when we were reading, the Byers guy.
Yeah, he was like,
I think these guys are innocent and all that shit. So he's still out there fighting for maybe it was the Hobbs guy.
Maybe it was just the Hobbs guy, yeah. Maybe that one.
Terry Hobbs, dude.
Oh, no. Memphis 3. And David Jacoby, that was the other guy.
Hair found on the ligatures that bind the boys, however, was found to be consistent with the DNA of Hobbs. They interviewed him, who was dismissive of the findings, claiming the hair could have been picked up during a visit to the home since the victim played with our little boy. Wait a minute. Oh, so his hair was found on one of the other boys, not his stepson's.
Right. Oh,
but he's saying the victim played with our little boy regularly, which is true.
Right. Could be anything. Hair is everywhere.
Another one found on a tree stump near the crime scene was found to be consistent with the DNA of Hobbs' friend David Jacoby.
I'm telling you, man, this Hobbs and Jacoby guy did some weird shit with these 3 boys.
According to David Jacoby, they said close to the crime scene because at one time I did walk near where they have found the kids with Terry Hobbs, but I didn't wear hats back then. My hair could have blown around everywhere.
Get out of my fucking face, you piece of garbage.
No charges have been brought against Jacoby, and he has never been named a suspect.
I'm naming him a suspect right now.
Right.
Jerry, what's his name? Jerry Jacoby? David Jacoby.
And Terry Hobbs.
Ooh, I would look into it. Can't say that they did it, but definitely got to look into it.
Oh, wait a minute. 2009, 3 witnesses filed affidavits claiming they saw Hobbs with the murdered boys the night they disappeared, contradicting Hobbs' previous statements to the police. He denied seeing the boys that night and questioned why eyewitnesses' evidence surfaced 16 years later. It was also revealed in 2012 that Hobbs' nephew allegedly told his friend, "My Uncle Terry murdered those 3 little boys," and that the killings were a Hobbs family secret.
Oh.
Hobbs denied the accusation, saying his family does have secrets, but none of them have to do with murder.
Of course he would say that.
Nobody's been charged. Hobbs has never wavered in his conviction that justice was served the first time around, so he still thinks these guys are guilty.
Of course he does.
I still believe in my heart that Jesse, Jason, and Damien are responsible for what happened to our children, he told Memphis ABC affiliate in 2019.
Oh, my.
To this day, it's still unclear who's responsible.
Oh, my. I think there's some reason to believe here that this David Jacoby...
Well, this is an Oxygen Channel documentary that was released in 2020, so maybe they have some stuff in there.
Man, I think something's going on with this Jacoby guy and Hobbs.
Yeah, something strange there, man.
Wow.
Henry Rollins came out for the 3.
Wow.
Pearl Jam, obviously. The Dixie Chicks. He says there's nothing from the crime scene that links Damien or Jason or Jesse to these crimes. There's not a shred of evidence, nothing there, not even a poop in the bed.
Shit in bed.
Yeah, a bunch of celebrities came out there. Oh, wow. Look at all of them. Winona Ryder, Margaret Cho, this guy, Lord of the Rings director. Jeez.
Wow.
Man, so they had a bunch of people behind them, huh?
Oh,
there was no way they weren't getting out of prison after all that. Wow. So who is it?
Told you.
It's got to be Jacoby and Hobbs, dude.
Jacoby and Hobbs. I guarantee if you dig deeper than that.
Jacoby and Hobbs. It's got to be those two.
Oh, my.
Yeah, me and Terry did walk past that crime scene before, but I didn't wear hats then.
How far they work from there? Or live from there? And do they go in that often? Is it a hunting area or what? So I want to know.
Hunting area is by a creek.
Right. Could be a hunting area. Could be in the middle of the woods.
There's no way they're hunting back there. Why is this, dude? This is, what the hell? First of all, if you guys go look at the pictures of Robin Hood Hills, the Jacoby guy's like, yeah, me and Terry walked around there a couple times. What the fuck are you guys doing back there? You're right by a major highway with nothing around there. Why the hell are you guys walking around by there?
Right. And whose house is that?
That's not a house. It's a business. Clearly, there's semis there.
Right. So they lived over here then.
Maybe.
It's possible if they walked over that way, do some fishing or something.
Doubt it, dude.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm telling you. This Hobbs guy and this Jacoby guy, if you guys are listening to this podcast, I'm sorry, but...
This is ridiculous, dude.
Yeah. I think you guys should be investigated.
Right. You guys are listening to this, if anybody else besides them is listening to this podcast, you got some
right
evidence that we don't know about here, because I'm pretty sure
this is crazy.
Terry Hobbs is a convicted
burglar.
Yeah, he's burglaring.
And he grabbed somebody's breast.
Domestic disputes. Then, a year after the murders, he had an altercation with his wife, Pam Hobbs, where he reportedly hit her, shot his brother-in-law.
Oh, shit.
Jackie Jr. Holy shit. His brother-in-law came to the residence after he was informed of the encounter. Terry Hobbs would later state that he shot Jackie Jr. in self-defense. Jackie Jr. survived the shooting, but died years later as a result of complications pertaining to his injuries. Hobbs was sentenced to 6 months in prison for aggravated assault. 2003, he was arrested for possession of marijuana and found guilty.
Who cares?
Well, I don't know, man. This Hobbs guy is not looking too good in the eyes of me.
What happened with the Jacoby guy?
I don't think they have a sentence or a thing for him.
Of course not. Dude, he did something. He looks guilty. He looks like he has something to say.
Dude, look at him. He looks
like I have something to confess.
He looks like somebody that would be a piece of shit.
He is holding on to something.
Fuck yeah, dude. Wow.
Oh, man.
Yeah, something's in with this Terry Hobbs and Jacoby guy. I'm telling you there. Whoa.
Right. How did that change? What about this douchebag?
Whoa, holy shit. The stepdad, John Mark Byers, of the Byers guy, before the murders, had charges of terroristic threats, grand theft, and drug use. Pretending a domestic dispute between Mark and his first wife. It was alleged that he threatened her life and assaulted her with an electronic stunning device.
Oh, what the hell?
Oh, and then in 35, David Judge Burnett, sponge it from his record. So this is the same dude that resided over the trials.
Right. What is going on here? See how long? Okay, takes a couple idiots like us to dig in some shit. 2 seconds.
In 73, all the way back, the parents of Mark called the police claiming their son was threatening him with a butcher knife.
Oh, my.
October of 90, the owners of a jewelry store said they allegedly stole $65,000 in jewelry. Did not arrest Mark. They didn't arrest him, but in 91, Byers was ordered by the court to return jewelry to the owners. Oh, my.
Whoa.
Then in 92, he was arrested for conspiring to sell cocaine and carrying a dangerous weapon.
Oh, my.
Then he went to the U.S. Marshals. Holy shit. Shortly before the murders, he faced criminal charges regarding $11,000 in stolen Rolex
this dude
watches.
Was a career criminal. He's a career criminal.
Detective Bryn Ridge, who was on the murder case, were contacted by UPS about the matter, reporting that the watches had been delivered to Byers, and he was denying the shipment occurred. This matter had not been settled by the time the three boys were murdered, and he eventually confessed to receiving the watches, selling them to a chiropractor. And then Brent Davis, whoever this guy is, said made a recommendation that he not be prosecuted. He was asked to pay $7,400 in restitution, which would allow him to avoid criminal prosecution. What? Wait. Melissa Byers, who was Chris Byers' mother, died 3 years after him. Ryan brought the towel in the master bedroom where he observed his mother cough and throw up. Ryan asked if his mother was all right, and Byers told him he did not know. Ryan said Byers then began CPR on Melissa. He told Wasser that the neighbor came to his bedroom to help his stepfather. At this point, he couldn't make it, so the man drove around, got gas, bought a soda. Received a phone call from John Mark about 5 p.m. Byers informed him of Melissa's condition. Metz asked why he had not called an ambulance. Byers asked Metz to come over to the house. Metz observed Ryan and his girlfriend on the couch nude, which is the son and his girlfriend. He went to the bedroom, saw Melissa on the floor completely naked.
The hell?
Metz checked for a pulse and told Byers to perform CPR. Melissa gurgled up some fluid and Metz called for an ambulance. Metz had to go back to his own home to make the call because he did not have his glasses. Okay. He said that when he returned, Ryan and John Mark were attempting to put pants on Melissa. He asked John Mark if Melissa was dead. He advised that John Mark advised no, and Ryan had a funny, eerie look on his face. He advised he went there, got a towel, and told Mark to keep doing CPR, told Ryan to take his girlfriend home and get back here. Ambulance came. Ryan kept mumbling something, and he did not seem coherent. He advised that when he left, he almost flipped his car over. He left so fast. There was a glass containing white liquid on the nightstand. There was a glass of clear liquid. What the fuck? She was pronounced dead at 6:30 p.m. What is going on here, dude? The overdose on a drug. Wait a minute. Byers said he was concerned that they were going to accuse me of smothering her. And then the Metz guy also stated that Byers said that he did not kill her, that he loved her.
That's a whole thing in itself right there.
He was sitting outside the residence with a woman named Mandy, who was later revealed to be his girlfriend. Oh my, dude. So there's so much stuff here.
Oh my.
This dude killed his wife. Coroner report noted that John had sex with his Melissa around 3 p.m. on March 29th. Two reportedly fell asleep and Byers woke to find Melissa unresponsive. Oh my, that's a whole nother thing to get into. We can't get into right here, but now this Byers guy sounds more more than the Terry Hobbs guy. Maybe those two stepdads got together and something fucking happened, dude.
The David Jacoby guy didn't want to be there.
Something happened.
Oh man.
Wow. If you guys know more about anything and have some other links for us to look into these Byers and Terry Hobbs guys, give us a shout at bangdangpodcast@gmail.com.
Oh,
holy shit.
What have we got ourselves into here? Wow. I'm not going to be a Murder, She Wrote guy or whatever. I'm not going to try to solve these cases, but they're making it hard not to. Well, holy shit.
Boy, this is crazy stuff. So with that, we are the Monthly Michiganders with
Bang Dang.